One of the most successful content creators out there. I'm sure someone you know, Mr. Beast. He's got millions and millions and millions of subscribers to his YouTube channel, including yours truly. Now, if you haven't subscribed already, Mr. Beast makes a ton of crazy videos, great giveaways, and he is someone who I love to watch because he's so entertaining. Which brings me to the reason why I'm making today's video. Now, Mr. Beast was on the Joe Rogan podcast and recently revealed how he suffered from Crohn's disease. And that has made it difficult for his life and his creative endeavors. Now, Mr. Beast, along with over 3 million people in the United States, suffer from this very debilitating condition. And I want to help those suffering from Crohn's disease to give the best tips that I recommend to help manage and minimize your symptoms. And Mr. Beast, I want to help you to help manage your Crohn's so we can hopefully get it taken care of so it doesn't control your life. Hey everyone, Dr. Islam here, aka your poop guru, trying to give you the best tips and tricks so you can live your best life from the top all the way down to the bottom. If you haven't already, don't forget to smash that like button, like, share, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to my newsletter where you get great tips and tricks coming to your inbox and to your notifications every single week.
I'm just grateful it was like at a young age, it was something like this that has infinite upside, and I can just obsess, and I can obsess forever, you know?
Before YouTube, was there another thing that you concentrated on with that kind of hyper focus?
I mean, a little bit of baseball. I got Crohn's when I was 15, so I played baseball nonstop.
So getting Crohn's at that age, in the teenage years is very common, but also it can be extremely traumatic. During that time, we're going through normal hormonal changes, we're growing, we're just, we're different people. And then on top of that, you add the symptoms from Crohn's, which typically can be pain, diarrhea, weight loss, fever, just not feeling good, not wanting to get out, not growing enough. And unfortunately, it can take some time for doctors to really pinpoint what exactly is going on. Is it just IBS? Is it an inflammatory condition? Is it just their body changing? Or is it an autoimmune disease like Crohn's disease? And so I've had a lot of patients who get diagnosed when they're young, but can really affect just who they become because this disease can sometimes, for some individuals, just encompass them wholly.
And then when I got Crohn's, I lost like 50 pounds. I'm like, fuck that.
You got Crohn's?
Crohn's disease.
But Crohn's is something that's a genetic disease, right? So
yeah.
It just manifests itself. It started to emerge.
Yeah, you're not born with it. Or I guess
not?
Most people get it like when they're around 15 to 20.
So let's talk about this. So it's a very good question. So what is the cause for Crohn's disease? So I'll tell you, we don't really know. We know it's a combination between genetics. We know there is a predisposition for people to have Crohn's disease. We know that environment may be playing a role. We know that food could be playing a role. We know that an infection could be triggering an immune response. It could be all the above, but we don't really know. And for some individuals, Crohn's can manifest much later in life, or sometimes it can present early in life. It's hard to predict who and when people are going to get Crohn's disease. But overall, we don't have a true reason why some individuals get Crohn's disease.
So you're born with the genetics thing, but I guess the inflammation doesn't occur till that age. Yeah, and so I lost like 40 pounds because I was going to the bathroom like 10 times a day. And so I was a little obsessed with baseball. I like literally was playing like 2 or 3 hours a day. There was a period like where I kind of like quit YouTube when I was like 13, 14, like so I could just really focus on baseball. But then once I got that, which was probably a blessing, I was like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. And I just went all in on YouTube.
So this Crohn's, does this make do you have to seriously regulate your diet?
Yes, very regulated diet. I have very, I don't know the words, like I run out of energy very easily, like because
that doesn't make sense.
So good question about diet. So we do know that diet does play a role in making Crohn's disease better and worse. Now there's 2 different approaches to take when it comes to diet. So number 1 is that we have to get the active inflammation under control. And so for sure, dietary therapy does not typically help out in most cases for that. Usually, especially in adults, we want to give medical therapy to put the forest fire and get that under control. Do you want to calm down that fire? Once we've done that, we have good studies to suggest that diet can play a role in keeping that fire at bay. And there are a lot of studies that are out there, whether it's an elemental diet, whether it's a vegan diet or a vegetarian type diet. We do know that certain foods has a predisposition to make it more inflamed inside your gut, especially meat. And for some individuals who have Crohn's disease, you have to be on a strict diet to help manage some of those symptoms that can occur if you are not on a good diet. Now, unfortunately, energy can be a really significant problem when you have active Crohn's. It's a very common symptom of Crohn's as well, of being low energy and not having the capacity to do the work that you used to do because it's so much energy that Crohn's takes on your body.
Well, you have so much energy.
I don't. I'm probably one of the least energetic people you ever meet.
But you do so much. How's it possible you have no energy?
I don't know, but because my immune system attacks itself, so it's very draining.
Right.
Very true.
I get
Very
tired
true.
Easily, I take a lot of naps and stuff like that.
I have a buddy of mine in Ohio that has it, and he can't eat bread. He can't eat.
I can't eat like a fuckload of stuff.
So you can't have one of your own burgers.
No, actually, that's fine. It doesn't flare me up. Even when I eat burgers, I usually take off the buns and just eat meat. I don't really like bread that much, anyways. But no, that's fine. And the chocolate bar actually is good on my stomach too, which is why I'm pretty happy with that as well.
So what is it that really fucks with you?
Weirdly enough, corn.
So it's interesting that corn can cause them a flare. Everyone can manifest differently when it comes to symptoms or making their symptoms worse. So for some individuals, corn, because it's not digestible, can go straight through you and cause diarrhea. So for Mr. Beast, obviously that may be the case. It's not a universal dietary recommendation for everyone who has Crohn's disease.
Really?
Yeah. Corn, anything spicy, anything like overly processed.
Well, that makes sense for anyone. Anybody who has overly processed foods or spicy foods, or especially too much, that's going to jack up your gut, especially those that already have a gut that may be predisposed to have other conditions.
Exactly is Crohn's? Like what is the immune system doing?
I'm going to be honest, I've never fully understood it. It's something about my intestines where like the lining of it, like the immune system attacks it. So my intestines are super inflamed. And so if it's not in remission, I basically just can't digest food because it just like it's so inflamed, food just passes through and you just like.
So that is actually a great explanation of what happened. So there's some triggering event going on inside your body, and that triggering event actually causes your immune system to attack the GI tract. It thinks it's a foreign entity, so it just attacks it. And that attack on your gut causes inflammation, ulcers, irritation, and that can manifest as bad diarrhea, pain, weight loss, fatigue, anemia, just not feeling good. And like I said before, we don't have a true explanation why people have Crohn's disease, but we do know that there's some autoimmune response going on inside that body.
It out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's like brutal, which is why when I first got it, I lost like 40 pounds in like a really quick time span.
It's often with ulcerative colitis too.
Yeah, I think
A friend of mine has it.
ulcerative colitis is a little bit more extreme version of Crohn's. So thankfully I got a little bit of the dulled down version, but.
So actually, there are two separate conditions. Ulcerative colitis is different from Crohn's disease. They're both in the spectrum of inflammatory bowel disease, or IBD. Ulcerative colitis typically is inflammation that only attacks the colon, and so that will usually manifest as bloody diarrhea. Whereas Crohn's disease is when your body attacks anywhere in the GI tract, the colon, the small intestine, the stomach, the mouth, though the small intestine ends up being the most common location. Unfortunately, for most individuals, Crohn's disease can be a little bit more difficult to treat or to keep at bay as opposed to ulcerative colitis, but they're typically not together.
Yeah, like sometimes it'll flare up and then I'm just like, I'm dead. I just lay in bed all day and I can't really do anything.
Is there any medication that you can take that improves it?
Yeah, so I'm on what's called Remicade, and so every 8 weeks they just do an IV with a huge bag, which essentially suppresses my immune system. So that's why I get sick very easily, because the answer to my immune system attacking itself is just to fucking nuke my immune system.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So Remicade is considered an anti-TNF or a biologic, and this is one of the various medications that we have to help treat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. We have a lot of medications that are out there to help control this disease, whether it is immune suppressive medications or even other options that are out there.
Blows my mind that there's no cure, because I think like you can probably Google it. Millions of people in America, I'm pretty sure, have it. So it's like it's pretty fucked up. It's annoying. So I don't understand why there's not a better way to treat it. But
so you're right. There is no cure that we have for Crohn's disease. That's an unfortunate thing. I wish we had a way to cure this. I do think we're getting closer to a cure, but unfortunately, he's exactly right. Mr. Beast is exactly right. We don't have a cure for Crohn's disease.
Have you tried an elimination diet?
Yes, exactly. So I don't know why I'm drawing blank. I mean, there's a lot of things that aggravate it. It's like chips, cookies, or things
Chips
like
that
that.
have corn.
Yeah,
So you have
exactly.
probably an allergy, maybe even to corn.
Yeah, so like I've done it. I know what to eat now, where it's not like my diet isn't causing it, but for whatever reason, sometimes it just flares up.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Sometimes it just flare up. You know, sometimes we just don't have an idea why people flare. It just happens.
I've talked to my friend about this. He got around the same age as you. His name is also Jimmy.
Let's go.
He though went the other way. He has had multiple inches of his colon removed.
Yeah. Does he
He
have
went
the
other
bag
way.
on his side?
He did for a while, but he's pretty healthy now. I mean, as
That's
far as I
my
know, he's pretty
worst
healthy now.
fear. Is if they remove it, you then have to get the bag, and then you shit in the bag.
Yeah, that's true. You know, and that does happen for some individuals. You know, sometimes surgical options are what we have for individuals, and that may be the best option for them. In most cases, I will tell you, we can at least do a reversal of the bag, or at least have that discussion with your surgeon. So I wouldn't say the bag is the end all be all by far.
No, an older guy who has one of those.
That's my worst fear. Is to have that. That's fucking gross.
It's gross and it's scary.
Yeah, but I know people who have gotten it, and they're like when they went from being tired and miserable and all that, and then they get that surgery and they feel like a normal human. It completely changed their life.
Yeah,
They
exactly
shit in
right.
the bag, but at least now they're happy.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
it's
it's
true.
like 6 in one, half a dozen the other. Like what's better? I'd rather have shit in a bag and be happy.
Well, I know.
I
Something
guess.
I think about a lot, because I could just have the part I have with Crohn's removed, and then I'd be fine too.
So that's not true. Mr. Beast is wrong, unfortunately. So when you look at the clinical data, when we remove that part of the colon that has Crohn's, that's good, but there is a 80% chance without treatment that the Crohn's will come back around the area where you did surgery. So despite that, if you have Crohn's, you're still going to need therapy to keep the Crohn's at bay for the rest of your life. So you're not cured from Crohn's disease. You can be cured from ulcerative colitis if you remove the colon, but not from Crohn's disease.
Did that, and then down the road they
I
come up
know.
with some sort of a solution.
I know.
Because I was wondering if like stem cells or something along those lines.
I remember because
Yeah.
I talked to him a long time.
We don't have any evidence
I just
of that.
Looked it up. I've seen when CBD was getting big, there was some talks that it could help people, but I just checked and there was a study that said there wasn't anything
Correct. There's no study.
conclusive on that. Just the
on
CBD, part.
Yeah, anything that reduces inflammation.
Not that I
Does
know.
exercise help it? Does
Yes.
anything help it?
Exercise does help.
Your just immune system attacks itself is all I know.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing's ever really. It's like it just feels so random. It's weird. Because I know people who've had it like probably before. They like the literal only answer that they could have was just to get that part of their body cut out, which is just unfathomable.
So here's my advice to Mr. Beast and anyone else who suffers from Crohn's. Number one, make sure you find a good GI doctor who treats this condition on a regular basis. We have new medications coming out that are effective, they work, and they can decrease your risk for needing surgery. Number two, dietary options do play a role, but it's not a cure. We don't have a cure for Crohn's disease. What I do recommend is for us to get patients on medical therapy first, control the inflammation, start to implement dietary changes, which will help out, and then maybe we can back off some of the medications to hopefully get you on a more natural therapy. Number three, surgery can be an option for individuals who have Crohn's. If you're suffering so much from Crohn's disease, removing that part of the colon can help out for sure, but keep in mind, it doesn't cure you from Crohn's. You still need to be on medical therapy. And then lastly, I would sign up for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. It is a fantastic organization that helps give research, help out with support, and also help physicians and patients to help manage your Crohn's disease. Find a support system so you don't have to suffer from this debilitating condition. Here's my call to action for you. If you still struggle for Crohn's disease, follow my tips on what I recommend to help manage your disease. And I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button, like, share, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel where you can get great tips and tricks coming to your inbox every single week. I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget, let's talk about poop. Thanks everyone.